Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. Roll time, right? Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you guys buy it. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fine.
Good morning, everybody. It is Friday. This has been a quick week, hasn't it? But it's been it's been an okay week for the S&P 500. We're sitting at, 40.65 right now? That's really great. So let's come in, look at the charts. I got a little bit of catching up to do here. We do have a bunch of key numbers, including the core PCE price index, which is a big mover for the treasuries here at the bottom of the hour. Got about 5 minutes. Really quickly, I'm going to roll over my other instruments. Come over here to the charts. All right, so treasuries a little bit now. Now we are rolled over. So my charts, I don't have my charts like back adjust here. So just note this gap is largely because of the rollover. But it looks like here this morning we're getting a little bit of a bid in the treasuries. In ES, really good move yesterday and holding it through the overnight. So if we could get some extension and close the week, oh man, if we could close the week above 4,100, that would be tremendous. Okay, so then oil. Oil was just running yesterday, but they are coming back a little bit today. Natural gas taking a dive. Guess that's good though, right? Gold and silver on their way up, and kappa, which probably means that the dollar. Well, so here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin having a little bit of an ugly run and then recovering. This kind of looks like somebody bought the dip, right? And here's the dollar. Yeah, a little bit lower from yesterday. Not significant. We're still above 100, of course, but how can I get your templates and indicator for NinjaTrader 8? So what are you referring to when you mean templates? So I don't really have templates for charts. I have to say I could give you the templates for my charts, but they might, I don't know, sometimes that stuff kind of is screwy. But the indicators that I use, you can download from speculatorseth.com. And the package, has all the information about what indicators are included in it, but it's $100. But there's a 2-week free trial for you to check it out. And it includes my charts for spreads and synthetic dollar index, which are probably like the most key ones. Yeah, the chart template. I could try putting it here in Discord, but it kind of depends. Do you want to do it on a minute chart? Because the thing is if I export the template, it will like include, I think it includes all of the indicators that are on it and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. So like, here's the thing. If the only thing that you'd be benefiting from with me giving you the chart template is the colors, and the colors are really easy to set yourself, right? So I wouldn't worry about the chart template. Okay, so we got some news coming out here in 2 minutes. I'm going to come over here and check, make sure I didn't miss any news overnight here. My phone did not sit on the charger correctly, so I was not able to do some of the reading that I usually do in the morning. I don't see any notable headlines. I don't see any notable headlines. So I think we're good on that front. So here we go for... Might have to fix the 5-year again. I don't know. I don't think I want to mess with that at the moment. So let's just kind of watch here. So usually I'm finding that it's usually not a good idea to try and trade the micros. Yeah, it's a one-time fee. It's a one-time fee. I used to have it set up as like a subscription that you know, if you were a subscriber to the channel. But everybody preferred the one-time fee. So, and I chose a fee that, you know, basically the intention is everybody that has NinjaTrader 8 can get it, because I think that it includes a couple of tools that really should be included with NinjaTrader. So, okay, so I can see the treasuries moving a little bit down. I'm not hearing the numbers yet. Okay, personal income, spot 4 versus spot 5. I'm still not getting the core PCE. I think they're being a little weird here because the numbers aren't all coming out all at once. Okay, here we go. So PCE is spot 3 in line with expectations. Real personal consumption spot 7 in line with the estimate spot 7. And overall, just US consumer spending spot 9 versus spot 8. Okay, so those numbers are all in line. So I do see the treasury moving down a little bit, but it's not too extreme yet. I'm personally not seeing where these numbers are incredibly hawkish. S&P 500 moved both ways there. I wasn't watching it to see which one it did first. Can see gold and the 6J treasuries all kind of moving down. Hi, Tobias. How are you doing? I'd say that, you know, in terms of there being concerns about inflation getting super hot and everything, um, this PCE, which is the Fed's preferred measure of inflation, by the way, looks really good. So I think this is kind of another feather in the we're probably past peak inflation. But you know, at the same time, we are below 3%, and that kind of looks like that's where the Fed is going and trying to normalize that. So I think that a move down in the treasuries doesn't necessarily make sense off of the news, but I do think that there's going to be kind of like a little battle. Like there's some people that are going to be buying treasuries here and some people selling them. People buying them thinking we're going into a recession, and people selling them thinking, well, the Federal Reserve is going to take us to 3%, so that's where we need to go. Yeah, pretty good. I expect a pullback today, but not sure though. Well, so in the indexes, it's going to be interesting, right? In the indexes, I could see a situation where like the floor falls out from underneath of us, and they're like, "Oh, just kidding! It was just a bear market rally. Oh, you suckers!" Right? That could happen, but I really think I'm leaning towards the S&P 500 is going to try and close above 4,100. If the S&P 500 closed above 4,100, that would be a really massive change to the chart, right? So if I just come back over here to my charts, we look at the S&P 500, there was this really massive tumble that we got on the 18th. What day was that, by the way? Last Wednesday. Okay, yeah. Like a lot of money got taken out of the market last week, right? So if we closed above that, then it would erase all of last week's losses. And then you come over and you look at like the daily ES, right? That would be like a higher high, possible trend reversal, and would kind of start to lead some support to the theory that the 20% decline there was like the bottom of this, and that it really was, that it's not a recession, that it's just a pullback and a slowdown. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm kind of leaning towards that, but I'm not so sure I take any trades off of it. I suppose we could go and try, we could try a sim trade off of it. We could try a sim trade off of it. I'm a little bit weary about taking a trade here in the treasuries today. Like, it looks like there's enough volatility for us to catch something, but yesterday was not very good trade, was it? And it is a Friday. It's kind of end of month. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably better for me to just kind of relax a little bit and use, you know, save any kind of money that I have for next week when we're actually going to have some news, because next week and the week after that are probably the most significant time periods. And then after that, it's probably going to get really quiet. So, what? Oh my gosh. I have avoided talking about the Texas shooting, right? Because I mean, I don't like giving attention to that and attention to the shooter. And at first it didn't seem like there was going to be political implications to it. Like the left was getting really excited and really loud, as they tend to do after these shootings, and it really is kind of starting to get a little like, oh man, it's as soon as they hear about it, people on social media trying to start their political issues with it, right? But this one is going really different, I have to say, and I am starting to think that there will be political implications from this. Although I'm not so sure that those political implications will be in favor of Democrats. So I give you one example was the Beto O'Rourke thing. So, I mean, highly unlikely that Beto O'Rourke becomes Texas governor. But a big shakeup kind of event could change that for sure. Then he goes and he does this political stunt at their press conference, and well, I personally, for me, that really turns me off. But how is the general populace going to react to it? I'm really interested to see the polling on it, but I'm thinking that it's going to hurt Beto. Okay, so we're all in like, okay, things are kind of like nothing changes still in that scenario, right? But then we started to get all of this stuff about how poorly this situation was bungled by the police. Have you been hearing all this stuff? Like, I am just like, oh, this is some of the craziest stuff ever. Like, I don't think, sometimes when it's happening, you don't realize it. But this is like Beto's breach of decorum during that press conference is probably the biggest outburst in political history, right? And this flub by the police is probably the biggest fail in history of this. Like so my understanding is that he went in and he barricaded himself in the room. And so because he barricaded himself in the room, the police didn't want to move in. They changed from an active shooter situation to like a hostage situation or something like that, or a barricaded person. So then they moved over to their policies with that, and they waited. Meanwhile, police are going in and getting their own children out of the school, preventing the parents from doing the same. Oh my gosh, that is just like, I think you're going to sue the police department, right? Like, there is almost certainly going to be, I don't know if they win that lawsuit. There's going to be a lawsuit with that, right? There's going to be a lawsuit with that. Okay, so now I'm hearing that this shooter was arrested 4 years ago for planning to shoot up a school when he turned 18. So this kid had been planning on doing a shooting for 4 years. They knew about it. It didn't prevent him from passing the background check to get a gun. He got a job just so he could make enough money to get a gun and go and do it. Can you freaking believe that? And he was still able to get it? Whoa, this story is just like got so many twists and turns in it. So the thing is Democrats push is like, well, we need to have universal background checks and stuff. Obviously, it's not enough because this guy should not have been able to buy a gun. Should not have been able to buy a gun. Does that help Democrats or hurt them? I don't know. When I see these sorts of things, it kind of makes me laugh about some of the people that are pushing some of it. Because, like, it seems to me like some people are just evil. Man. And Sticks and Hammer 666 says a glowing affair as usual. That is just, man. When I see stories like that, now I'm just thinking in my head, like, how much worse is this going to get? How much more crazy is this story going to get? So, I hope you're not too turned off by that. But this story is getting kind of crazy. Okay, well, the treasuries came back quite a bit, in the backwash. But I'm not really seeing the Tether's launched a new stablecoin pegged to the Mexican peso. Yeah, that seems like a great idea. Bank of America says Brent could push past $150 a barrel if Russian oil exports shrink. With our 120 barrel Brent target now in sight, we believe a sharp contraction in Russian oil exports could push Brent well past $150 a barrel. That would be so devastating to the economy. I think there was one of those concerns that we kind of forgot about, right? So as we're saying that, like, past recessions have actually been triggered by increases in oil that create demand destruction. So we kind of came into all of this, slow down. Okay, this past week kind of says, hey, it's not such a guarantee that there's going to be a recession. A lot of people are, oh, we're in a recession. Okay, well, this past week says maybe we're in a recession, but maybe we're not. Hard to say. Hard for me to say. I think that I'm probably still leaning that 60% chance not a recession. Okay, but if oil gets to $60 a barrel, 160, 150 for Brent, I guess that's yeah. Well, and we're already to like $5 a gallon, so you're starting to talk about $6, $7, $8 a gallon in some areas. That's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. Yeah. So yeah. Thing is like, oh yeah, we're moving over to renewables, but you ain't got enough energy from renewables. You have to do nuclear. You're gonna have to do nuclear. This world we live in, guys. Lots of things to think about right now. Yeah, okay, now this is another one that I think is really weird. Okay, JP Morgan analysts are saying crypto winter likely won't materialize and sees 30% upside potential in Bitcoin price. I don't know if this is like a new analyst that they've got or something, or what their case is on that. But it's very odd. And that they see a 30% upside potential in Bitcoin is a little bit like, It's just a curious prediction that I wouldn't necessarily expect to come from JP Morgan, but we just got to remember that it's like the analysts and the desk are different and might be a new analyst over there, right? Probably a different analyst saying that there's some upside potential now compared to the analysts that were really bashing it in like 2018, right? I personally, I see that it could go up here. I don't think that you're getting a good price if you're buying Bitcoin up here, but it could move. It could move up. There could be a recovery in Bitcoin. It's to a place where we have seen significant ticks up in the past, but I would warn that there is like action coming supposedly. So there was a thread where somebody said that they had a source inside law enforcement that said that they were preparing law enforcement action against 4 exchanges over listing Terra, because Terra was very clearly a Ponzi scheme. Listing it on your exchange would be a violation of law. So that could be a significant thing that could really harm Bitcoin. So that's like your biggest near term risk right now. That, and that it doesn't look to me like Tether is in such a good spot. They're playing all of the games to try and make everybody think that everything's fine, but does not look like everything is fine over there to me. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of like a descending triangle kind of formation in the treasuries, which is a pattern that I could be interested in if I had a really strong bias one direction or another. When I look at the volume, it's not very clear in the 10-year. It is down in the 30 and the 5. And we are getting a lot of flattening. So let's recenter things here. We should be looking for the 5-year to lead us lower if that's what happens. But normally I would be all in if I had a stronger daily bias in line with it. But today I'm a little unsure, so I think I'm gonna sit on the sidelines still. And because the issue is that if it does go through, I'm not really sure how much there is in it. I suppose we could move all the way back to 120 today. It's possible. But that's where I'm kind of thinking it doesn't seem to me that I have a strong enough bias to make it think that it will go that far. Today still looks a little fuzzy. S&P 500 is moving up though. So that is something that could be in their favor for the treasuries to move lower. I'd like to zip him in a Ziploc bag and try to get his ego stuffed inside and calm him down, says Barbara Cohen about Elon Musk. He's a bit much lately. He tweeted mean things, guys. We need to do something about it. Are we getting... Now it's steepening out again? That's a little curious. That makes me even less certain about their ability to extend lower here. But let's see what they do. Uptick. I don't know, guys. This doesn't look very good for the lower. It's a little early to tell. That's just like one little tea leaf, but that series of 2 ticks up was not a good sign for an extension lower. In fact, now I'm kind of tempted to come in here and sell micros. Nah, I don't think it's worth it though. Oh, you know what? To distract myself, somebody posted an indicator, and I want to check it out. They had made. So I will import NinjaScript add-on. Come on. Come on. There we go. Historical volatility bands. There we go. I don't know where what the name of the indicator is. I'm gonna have to go and open up the zip file and rip it out. Historical volatility bands. How come I don't see that under H's? Unless he put it in his own. Oh, that's interesting. H fall 2. Well, there's my H's. Except for, well, there is a DLL for it, but there is code in here. Oh, for cache indicator. No, I think that's just what happens when it's a deal. That's disappointing. I can't look at his code. But we can try and look at his indicator. Let's do ZN on 1 minute bars. See if I can. H vol 2, period 20. Okay, fine. Looks like we're back again. I just got bounced twice. Okay. So it's very quick disconnects actually. It looks like that it looks like I get bounced and everything reconnects almost immediately. Well, we're calling my service provider about this because this is unacceptable. Hmm. Looks like we're still here. I don't know. That's kind of weird. So I think we're going to talk with this guy and we get him to post it without it being in a DLL. And, you know, I'll be able to go in and get the bars to draw historically so that for each day you'll see what they were for each day. And then we could try and backtest it and see how well it works.
Connection lost.
We're gonna try connecting me directly to the modem, see if that changes it. Okay. So I think we should give it 10 minutes, let's say. Yeah. Well, I'm a network guy. I'm a site reliability engineer, in fact. So, well, I don't mess around with the network side too much. Most of what I do is building monitors to see when things are up or down. So, gotcha. Yeah. One of the things I'm also wondering here, um, if this works, because something that we didn't, maybe we should have done first is we should have tried rebooting everything just to force it to get a new IP to see if just it getting a new IP made a difference. Oh, so it's still using the same IP. Good. Oh, wait, sorry. I don't think I understood what you just said there. Say that again. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. I see. I see. It's static by device. Gotcha. Kind of wondering. Um, I don't really have any reason to do it. Well, oh, it's only been 4 minutes. Okay, cool. Well, hmm. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. There might be an issue with my router because I have the desktop connected into the modem directly right now, and we're doing okay. So I might need to like reset my router or go to a previous firmware or something. Kind of thinking I did update the router. Oh, they must think that must be the somebody on my stream is telling me to call Spectrum, and that must be the one service provider in their area. No, I have to say it's I one of the nice things about the internet service that I have here is that I'm allowed to use you guys because you're way more responsive and easier to work with than these other providers. Okay, well, we're not 100%. I'm not 100% sure what's going on there, but I suspect that it may be a problem with my router. I do see that a troll tried to come in on YouTube, but I think that that's probably incidental. It looks like all of you guys made it back into the stream too, so we're okay. Should I go back over the thing that I was talking? Because we got interrupted a bunch of times, but somebody sent me an indicator that is Sigma volatility bands. I think it was saying that he got it from Futures Trader 71 was something that they used. Yeah. I just had the microphone muted while I was talking to the guy on the phone. Anyways. So he exported it as a DLL, which I don't think he intended to do. But so I can't look at the code or modify it. But the thing that I don't like about the indicator already is that it's only showing me like these bands for today. So I can't see like what was the band yesterday, for instance. So it's probably possible to do though. So I will go in and modify. Yeah, he's just doing it with lines, right? But we can change that. We can make it more like a Bollinger Band one so that it changes, right? And then once we have that, that would also make it back testable so that we could back test to see if it's any good, right? So while all that was going on, what did I miss? It looks like the treasuries recovered their declines and moved all the way back up to the top of the range. That's interesting. I can hear that sound again, but I think that that's my daughter in her room. I think that she's woken up and she's doing something. Actually, you know what? It's bothering me so much. I'm going to go check. Yeah, it was her alarm. Let's see here. Let's refresh this over so I get your chat over here. S&P 500 taking off pretty good there at the beginning. I've really liked this router, but I'm wondering if now is the time to, if it really is the router, the factory reset of the router doesn't fix it. I wonder if now is the time to go and get a more serious piece of network hardware, something that I can have a little bit more fun with. Let's see here. By the way, that kind of sucks that all happened because I was getting a good read that they were turning around when they were at the bottom there, didn't we? Now, the micros were only at 2.74. So that decline is not that great. Oh, I guess now with that little bit of a move, now you'd be to $20. It would have been okay. Look at Ubiquit. What is that? Let's look. Simplifying IT. Wi-Fi access points. Let's see here. Switching. That's the kind of switch that I want. Except for that, I don't need that many connections, right? I would still need the router part though, right? That's kind of want like I want like a router that would allow me to like monitor all the traffic on my network. My reply to the okay, Nassim Taleb says, my reply to the recommended list of summer reads, Manual of Latin Grammar, okay? And then the two other things look like more art books, not technical stuff. Of course, the you wanted technical stuff, it should be his books, right? Okay, well, now they're pushing the bottom side of this. Do you think that the treasuries are gonna, hey, NASDAQ killer, how are you doing? How are you doing? You think that they'll try and push back to the other side? You missed all the fun, NASDAQ killer, or having network problems. Trying to get myself to like get really relaxed again and kind of in the mode. The S&P 500 is, I was saying it would be really great if the S&P 500 closed above 4,100. I didn't think when I said that, I was thinking like, 50, 60 points on the day. Yeah, they can probably do that by the end of the day. For them to be doing it within the first 10 minutes of the open is really crazy, right? No, I think it was my internet router. So what we did was we turned off the router and plugged my PC directly into the modem, and the problem went away. So that could be if it was like something was like hitting me, you know, that would like if I was getting some sort of like mass packets to try and kick me off the network, that would maybe solve that because the IP changed, right? But the router, it's likely that it could just be the router. So I think I need to do like a factory reset on the router. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Factory reset the router. See if I have any other problems. I don't know. Maybe. When we were while it was happening, somebody decided to come in and it looked like one of Vinny's goons decided to come in and start posting stuff. Yeah, VPN. Why? You took your profits too early on ES. Did you have an ES trade? That sucks. I don't know. So the thing that irks me is that when I'm looking at my router's logs, I don't see anything. There's nothing unusual in the router's logs whatsoever. So like, what's with that? Unless it's the cord between the router and the modem or something. I suppose that's possible. Oh, you closed it at 4070. Jeez. So this is the thing that okay, when I worked at the bank, I couldn't trade. So what I would do instead is I'd use TradingView. It was funny because TradingView was like brand new back then, and the only reason that I had settled on TradingView was that it was the only one that would give me live data that I could still see from behind the firewall, because they weren't going to give me market data like that. So I paid for the $5 a month so I could see live futures data, right? And I would just track all of my trades in a spreadsheet, which it was an awesome spreadsheet. Kind of sucks that I couldn't take it off of their network, but is what it is. So I would take trades that way, and to try and keep myself honest or whatever the deal is, everything was kind of pre-planned. It was like, okay, here's the place I want to get in, and here's the place I want to get out, or whatever the deal is, right? And I would swing them too. I would get into ES and I would give myself a 4-point stop, which is back then was a pretty big stop, and just kind of let it ride. And so I could catch these swings when things were kind of going crazy, and then I would get in and you'd just hold it till the end of the contract or whatever. And so I, in my theoretical portfolio, I had worked it up from 100,000 to 2 million, right? Now, I don't think that those results were 100% accurate because I'm not sure what I would be doing in my head that, because there's no system to keep me honest, right? I'm almost certain based on the results that I had that there was something I was doing that was cheating to some extent. And but a big part of how I was able to do so well was holding trades for multiple days, right? Which is something that I've very rarely done over here. But when I have, they've been successful. Like the thing is that I could have been short all year, right? Like I could have been just swing short the micro treasuries and be up like $2,000, and I didn't do it because when the day I was trying to do it, it went the wrong way, and I gave up on it. And then so it might be a good idea for me to work myself back up to an amount where I feel like I can swing it. Although I think that for the micro treasuries, the opportunity is past. I don't think that I have a really good swing trade there anymore. But yeah, the whole like you take your profits too early. Like the thing that I continually find in my back testing is that stops and targets are often not helpful because you're trying to enforce something on the market, and it's you tend to do way better if your entry exit signals tend to be something that actually like is responding to stuff in the market, right? Hmm. Had some trades since last Friday, which was still good profit, but sometimes you want to take something off the table. Don't get greedy. Yeah, dynamic targets. Well, the thing though is that I don't know. A lot of people said set your targets based on volatility, right? But whenever I've tried programming an algorithm that did that, it didn't help it. And what's his bucket? Kevin, he has a little book that you can buy off of Amazon for like $5. I can't remember the name that you have to search for to be able to find it on Amazon, but on Futures IO, his name is Kevin Dog. We should try and get him in someday. And the backtests that he shows in there aren't big enough, in my opinion. And he was doing it in TradeStation, not NinjaTrader, which shouldn't be any different. But and he kind of found the same thing, that trying to use ATR didn't really work very well. There was other things that he looked at that seemed to work better. My intent is to determine waning meta order. Yeah, well, I wouldn't call it a waning, Alex. What you want to look for is liquidity hole, right? Depends on your signal. If your signal is tuned to longer trades, then yes. If not, then no. Yeah, but so here's the thing that I'm kind of coming to the conclusion of, though, is that the kind of stuff that we can see and react to are a little bit longer trades. So there is a lot of evidence that the limit order book can predict moves on very short time frames. Like, it is extremely predictive, but it is on very short time frames. I think that those ones we can't really take advantage of. Although there is one signal that I don't see it often enough to be able to like really test this theory out statistically. But sometimes you'll get these moves where you'll get a trend, like we move up you'll get a trend up. And as we trend up, the bids become very, very strong and the overall liquidity in the market increases. So the last time that we saw that, I made sure to make a note of it because I had noticed this to be a significant thing in the past. So here it is on the daily chart in the ZN. And do you see that right there where I say strong liquidity bid? Look at that. We saw it that day. And then ever since then, it's been up. Ever since then, it's been up. So that is one. So it seems that there can be an extreme version of that is more persistent. And it looks to me like that's been a reliable signal in the past. But I think it could be faked to some extent, especially like when it's just starting out, because you could like tick up in somebody's spoofs, right? And I've only seen it like maybe 4 or 5 times ever, so I don't have a big enough sample size. Latest White House plan would forgive $10,000 in student loans for borrowers earning up to $150,000 per person. I don't understand what that policy. Oh, it means you have to have earned less than $150,000. Then they'll forgive up to $10,000. I don't think that would be a good idea. What was the subgraph? Oh, on that chart. It's just the spread. It's just the 2 10-year spread. So what you're getting here is that the 2 and 10 has steepened a little bit lately. This one is weird. I don't know. I don't understand. I'm sure that there's a little bit of math to explain it. But when I do like the knob, for instance, the graph going up means steepening and the graph going down means flattening. But on the 2 and 10-year spread, it's the opposite. And I don't know why, but it has to do with the ratio up between them. Like the ratio would have to be different and then it would be like the other ones. But that's what that was. Well, you definitely have like this valley here at 120.13. At the moment, it's kind of looking like today is going to be like my voice, that today is going to be like a double distribution day. Let's see here. We don't have anything at the top of the hour, do we? Oh, yeah, we do. We have University of Michigan expectations. That's pretty important stuff. So we get that. After that, though, we want to be careful because you probably start to get, late Friday shenanigans. The way this has been trading in the Treasury, I think that they're ripe for some Friday shenanigans. So, yeah. I don't think so. I'm just thinking about the student loan thing. I don't think that 10,000 per person is a big deal, but it's not a good policy. Is this going to be an executive order? Because if this is an executive order, that's like a really big problem. Is the rollover today? Yeah, like your Ninja Trader should be telling you that you have to roll over. In fact, I think that if you tried to put in any orders in the old contract, it will probably stop you. Think bonds trying to break higher? Well, so what I'm seeing right now is that the dollar is collapsing. The dollar is collapsing, and as a result, everything is moving higher. And then the S&P 500 looks bullish overall, anyways. But we do have news coming up here. So, yep, everything copper's higher. Really, the only thing that's not moving, Bitcoin, is not moving. I mean, it's kind of moving up, but Bitcoin is still down on the session. And natural gas. Natural gas. It's because the ZT is a 200K face value bond equal, and the actual ratio is 2 ZT to 1 ZN. But when it is quoted in price, it has to be quoted 4 ZT to 1 ZN to adjust for face value. Okay, well, but actually, that makes sense except for one thing. So here's my question about that. If that's true, which session Bitcoin is 24/7, isn't it? Yeah, but no. From the CME session starts. So what is it? 6 o'clock Eastern time. 6 p.m. Eastern time is when that's the start of the session. Okay, so on the CME website, they have interest rate futures intercommodity spreads. And then here they have the common spreads. Okay. So if I'm going to do 2-year T-note versus 10-year T-note, why do they have it 2-to-1 if it should really be 4-to-1? Don't ask me anything. The CME ICS sheet states that. Well, let me come in here and try it on this chart and see what that changes. Because I think you might be right. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's come back over to this one. See the accompanying PDF? You mean, oh, did you just post something? ICS ratios, June 2022. 2-year note versus Ultra 10. Oh. There's TUT and there's TUX. So maybe we should be doing TUX instead of TUT. You saying that I should be doing TUX instead of TUT? Let's come back to this one and do it that way. Do 3-to-1 instead of 4-to-1. Now, wait, that didn't seem to change anything. Four to one. It's still not enough. What does the price ratio mean? PUT is the ratio. Leg quantity ratio is 2-to-1, but the price ratio is 4. So if I come in here to the knob, the ratio is 2.5. And this one, the ratio is 4 and 6. So, but I guess what you're saying is that because the price ratio of the 2 and 10 is so high, that's why it's opposite. That's why it's opposite the others. Wouldn't that mean then that to make this right, it would actually need to be 0.5 to 1 or something like that? 0.5 to 1? Seems like it doesn't matter which way I do it. The graph is still going the same way. April 3rd is the low. It's only the case in the 2 and 3 year treasuries. The rest are normal. So here we're getting the numbers, by the way. While I'm jacking off. We got, what was the 1 year inflation final 5.4 versus an expected 5.4. 5 year inflation final 3%. So the inflation numbers are good. Sentiment is a little bit less than expected, 58.4 versus 59.1. So I'm not seeing. Oh, you know what? Here, let's do it this way. Candles, spread candles. 3 to 1. And this one I will do CT 2 to 1. Nah. See, it still does. They still go the same direction, right? I think that to make it be the way that I think it should look, the way that I think the chart should look, I think I need to do it the other way around. ZN ZT, and this will still be let's see here, 2 ZN to 1 ZT, right? There you go. And then it looks correct to me. Let's see here. Knob is 5 to 2. So 5 to 2 means 5 ZN and 2 ZB, right? 5 ZN and 2 ZB. 5 ZN, 2 ZB. So 2 versus 10 should be 3, 2, 2 year, and 1, 10 year. Yeah, should be ZT 3. Yeah, and this is so weird. I think it's because like the 10 year is like my center. So like that's got to be it. So I'm doing the 10 versus the 30 or the 5 versus the 30. So I'm doing like that. But when I'm doing it like that, it's opposite. So that's why you get like this is steepening versus this is steepening. Nah, logistically, that still just doesn't make sense to me. If the yield curve, if here is the 2 and here is the 10, and then the next day here is the 2 and here is the 10, the distance between them is getting less. The distance between them is getting less. So this should be a reading of like, 198 or whatever many basis points it is. And then this should be a reading of like 5, or whatever the deal is. Like that should be the more extreme. So it going down should mean flattening. And that's not what it means in this chart. So don't understand. I still don't understand what the deal is. I think that you're on the right track though, Akshay, but I think that what you're showing me is that's the way it's done in the industry, but I don't think that most people are like charting it like this. Oh, so the treasury gonna continue moving up, eh? Interesting. So like let me put it on a chart. Let me make an individual chart over here to show you the issue that I seem to have. Your preferred measure for the Fed is the 10-year, 3-month. Yes, although I think that the Federal Reserve doesn't like that prediction anyways. I think that the Federal Reserve thinks that that's more complicated than that, and that the situation is such that the yield curve is likely to flatten. And so a flattening in the yield curve doesn't necessarily predict a recession at all. Okay, so this front leg is going to be ZNZB, 5 to 2, right? That's going to be the knob. And then this one is going to be ZTZN, and that's going to be 2 to 1. Okay. Okay, so do you see what I mean now? So overall, the yield curve has been flattening, right? This one is moving down, and this one is moving up, right? So if I come in and I modify the properties of this one right here to have ZT be 4 to 1. Oh, actually, no, it does. Now it does. Now they are in line. Okay, wait, what about 3 to 1? Okay, so 3 to 1 is correct. Why did I not think that that was working before then? It does seem like 4 to 1 would be a little bit more like probably would be better, but they for some reason they have it 3 to 1. That's fine. Gotta go. Yeah, have a good weekend. We still got an hour left. Man, it's been a long day. A lot has happened. A lot has happened. Okay. I don't know why I was having the issue that I was before. I guess I was just talking out. I guess I was just not looking at it right. ZT, ZN, 3 to 1. Okay. And this one over here. Spread. ZT, ZN, 3 to 1. Okay. Are you doing a stream Monday? Probably not. I totally forgot about Monday. You know, I was getting myself all anxious because I really wanted to have put a video out last week and it didn't work out. And I was like, well, I definitely got to put one out this next week. But then, like, typically on the holiday, they don't do as well. So maybe what I should do is I should just spend Friday and Monday working on scripts. Because I get the day off today because I was on support. So I'm probably going to be able to sort out the two main scripts that I'm working on right now, and maybe even start working on some future ones. There's one thing that I've been doing is I've been working on a series on trading the bonds. And it just seems like every time that I start to do this stuff, it turns into multiple videos. So that's what we get on that. But I also do need to spend some of it doing some Python stuff, I think. Trying to make a model with TabNet. Those are my main goals right now. I had like this big long list of stuff and I was like, oh, I was doing too much stuff. So I told myself I'll go down to 3. So I go down to 3 and now I'm like, oh, I think I might be able to do those 3 this weekend, but then I'm missing something. What's the thing? So funny. Yeah, I don't know. When we do it on the holidays, we often program stuff, but you know, those streams aren't as productive. And I could probably use that time to study and stuff. Like I could use that whole time to study for the Series 65 exam. Like maybe by then I can have gone through all of my cards and start doing tests, perhaps. So maybe I can do tests on that day. Close that window. Okay, well, the treasuries did move a little bit higher, but they didn't reach the high, at least not in the 10-year. The 30-year did. The 30-year did. Oh, I see why. I was trying to figure out why on my chart that my ZN chart has a gap, but not the other ones, and it's because I modified the rollover for my other 2 instruments, but not for ZT. Are you trying to be an FA? A financial advisor? I don't know why I'm doing it, to be honest, anymore, Mark. So the original thinking was it was cheap and it'll be a credential in my cap and I can invest in hedge funds. I'm pretty sure that there's only like one hedge fund out there that will actually take that has a minimum investment amount that's low enough that I can even put money into it. But that was the thing that attracted me to it initially was, oh yeah, if you have that, then you can invest in hedge funds and all of these other riskier products. So that was kind of like the main thing. And then I was thinking, oh, like I can do that one, and then that will be the practice for getting a Series 3. And then I can be a commodities trading advisor, right? Well, it's kind of funny. Most of the stuff in the Series 65 I actually kind of knew. It was just the thing that I learned was like the specific laws and like the numbers, like how long it takes when you register, how many days does it take? You know, it's 45 days max, and then it's ready to go. That sort of a thing, and which they test on very heavily. So it kind of seems to me that I'm going to take this test and I'm not going to do anything with it. Because it seems like this is a certification that like I could go and work for Fidelity, right? But I don't think that I would be paid as much as I get paid now being a software engineer, right? But So why go take the test then? Well, because I started it, and I have this tendency of like starting to study something. I've done this twice. I did this with the GMAT. I studied really hard for the GMAT and I didn't take it. And I did this with the with real estate. I took all the classes for real estate and then I didn't go and take the test. So this time I'm like, I'm not going to be like that anymore. I'm going to take the test. So I'm going to take the test. I'm hoping to maybe do it in July. So hoping, you know, I'll get a week off from work the week after this next week for the baby. And hopefully I'll be able to use that time to study really hard for it. So maybe in June or July, I'll take it. And I don't know, like maybe it will open up some doors, but I don't know what the door that opens is. That if you're a, you know, an investment advisor representative and a computer science guy, I'm not quite sure that one makes much sense. I could start my own investment advisor representative services, but I don't have. It kind of seems to me that in order to make an investment advisor representative to be worth anything, to be worth paying somebody for that kind of stuff, you kind of have to be, you know, in the millions of dollars net worth already, right? And I don't have a prospective clientele for that, so. I think that I think at this point, I'm just doing it just to follow through. Suggestion for video correlations. You're really interested in the correlations. I don't know what else I would say about the correlations other than how you might use, you know what? I think part of the problem is that I don't think that I know as much about correlations as I would like, because you couldn't come in and there's like an indicator to say like, are two things correlated, right? And it will show you over a time frame how correlated they are. But my understanding is that for a, you know, a statistical arbitrage kind of strategy, that's often not enough. And so you want something more complicated than that. So there's like co-integration and stuff like that. And I've kind of looked at some of these a little bit before, and it looked like I could program some stuff, but you know, I didn't take that one all the way as far as I could. I don't remember why, but I seem to feel like it was that I felt like I was lacking on some of the math and some of the things didn't make sense to me. So I don't know. But the way that I look at the correlations is that there's going to be a robot out there that says, I'm going to determine my best bid offer by managing my risk and managing the risk of adverse excursion against me and what the correlation with the 6J is right now. So if the 6J moves down, then I'm going to move down my bid, for instance, right? There's a robot that does that, okay? And they will have this super complicated formula and so forth to determine how correlated it is with the 6J, and therefore when the 6J moves down, whether it's relevant or not, right? But they're really fast. I can't compete in that arena, right? So I don't necessarily want to be trying to play that game, but what I do want to do is I want to keep an eye on it to know, okay, so if I have a move up and there's not very much volume behind it, first thing I'm always thinking is, what did the 6J do? What did the dollar, what did oil do? Okay, like was there another asset that has a relationship with the treasury that moved? And that's why the treasury moved, and not because the treasury there's something actually happening in the treasury, right? Because I used to think that it was like, oh, they just pull the bids and they're doing all that to screw with you, right? But what I seem to find over and over again is that when I think that they're like trying to screw with you, it's more complicated than that. It's because they can't. There are the spoofers. There are the spoofers that happens, okay? But otherwise, most of these algorithms, they aren't necessarily like trying to screw you over per se. It's you trading without that thing and trading against them. because that thing is an edge, you trading against that edge is bad for you and tends to screw you over in the end, right? If you don't know about the correlation, you ignore it, then, you know, you're going to make a bad decision at some point. So that's kind of where I think that the humans can kind of get an advantage too, is that the robots don't seem to be as good at knowing when the correlation is more or less likely to be relevant, right? I would say that or my running theory, I don't know how I prove this theory, but my running theory is that the currencies matter more on a Friday because there are often moves in currencies where the banks want to move their money before the weekend, right? So you notice today the dollar was going down. I think that it being a Friday was probably a significant part of that. And hence why so many of these other assets, including the treasuries, kind of moved up. This market gets so boring and it goes up when it goes up. Wait, didn't you, trying to be an FA, didn't you just ask me that question? Oh, now I'm confused on when I said what. Oh, well. Steve Rusulio, a surgeon in Massachusetts, can't stop thinking about how he lost his family's nest egg. A young Ukrainian considered suicide after losing 90% of his savings. People who put their money in Terra thought it would be safe. Bitfinex says, don't worry. The same thing definitely won't happen with Tether. Their quote-unquote secret sauce investments and Department of Justice bank fraud criminal investigations means they're totally safe. Yeah, they blatantly lied in the past and were convicted of lying, but they're definitely not lying now yet. Tell us you're insolvent without telling us you're insolvent. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There are Ponzi schemes out there, guys. When you really think about it, if it is an asset that trades on an exchange and it's not backed by something with fundamental value, then it's a Ponzi scheme. That's basically the definition of a Ponzi scheme, right? So the question is, does Bitcoin have fundamental value, or at least does it have fundamental value? Well, let me take it to a step further. If an object is traded on an exchange and the price is well above what its long-term fundamental value is, then it's essentially a Ponzi scheme too. Like when people take profits, it's going to come back. It's going to come back to the fundamental value, right? So Bitcoin may have some fundamental value, but the fundamental value that it actually has is so minuscule that it's basically a Ponzi scheme. Basically, it's a Ponzi, right? Stocks have a lot more value. So Tesla could be like way overvalued, for instance, but it's going to come back to something. So why does it matter if something's a Ponzi scheme or not? Well, one, I mean, because it's illegal. But if there is fundamental value behind it, it doesn't necessarily have to be illegal. So they don't necessarily have to make Bitcoin illegal. But I think that the bigger issue is that you're likely to lose money from it, right? I can finally be happy now when people ask what I trade in, say euro dollar. They are like, even I trade euro USD. That's the best thing that happened with the euro dollar's death. Ah, SOFRs. So were you surprised actually when I couldn't pull up the SOFR futures over here? I also I wonder, do you really have a whole lot of success with that? How do you do it? Do you just try and play the bid and offer on that, or do you try and or do you hit into it? I've always wondered. I've always wondered how the people that do that, because I know that there's like tremendous volume over there, but for whatever reason, not very many retail traders mess with it. Oh, that's right. We get the Obi-Wan Kenobi today, right? Yes, it's the 27th. It's either today or tomorrow. Where it says Obi-Wan Kenobi was hiding at least 2 major surprises. Do I need spoilers? It's released all the time, right? No, maybe it's just the first episode. No, I was expecting it to now work on small brokers. Yeah, get you. You know what? Nobody's contacted me today. Maybe they'll get to me next week. Oh, you kind of have to hit the bid ask because the stirs are pro rata matched, not first in, first out. So are you doing something like you expect it to go up? So you hit into it and then it has to go up 2 ticks and then you can sell? That sort of a thing? Only way to have a guaranteed fill is to hit market. Well, no, the only way to have a guaranteed fill in that situation is for you to catch the adverse excursion, right? Which in an instrument like that is probably not a good idea. Oh. The trick is to trade the pack or bundle? You're going to have to explain that to me. And make butterflies across the curve. Oh. So you trade it as a spread. So there's the next question. Where did you learn the basics of this? Was there education that you used, or did you just figure it all out on your own? I could see you figuring it all out on your own for something like that, or maybe from another person. Then taking out or adding in individual maturities. The stir bundle page on the CME explains it better than, okay. Okay, so then why did you end up gravitating towards trading that? Because that's one of the other things is I've noticed, it seems to me that there are a bunch of areas in the fixed income world where you can make a reliable profit, actually. But I always find one of two things to be true. Either one, the amount of money that you're making compared to the amount of effort that you have to put in to get it is so crazy that it's like not worth trying. And number two is the amount of money that you have to be trading for it is really silly too. I like how you're outperforming Seth on the low volatility scale. And it actually would be less volatility than this, wouldn't it? Oh, really? That's interesting. But it's not like what I was thinking initially, because initially I was thinking, okay, he has to really know which direction it's going to go. But it sounds like he's using butterflies across the curve, essentially, to hedge the trade, essentially. It's kind of like, so for instance, here in the treasuries, okay, if we were doing it with the treasuries, you can go and you can buy the actual real treasury, right? And then hold it for delivery, or, basically you can trade the basis of it, which is a lot more reliable, and so you can make a small profit. So now if you were doing like one futures contract and one actual bond, right? You're talking about something where you'd have to have like $1 million. You'd have to have like $1 million to do it, and you'd only be making like $100 or something a contract. Like it would be this, like it's just this insane amount of money for like a teeny tiny little profit, right? Yeah, you need at least a 500K account to see any kind of return. In my judgment, else you're just exactly. It's like the amount of money that you need compared to the. Okay, but that kind of makes the earlier question even more interesting to me. Is that how did you get into trading that specifically? Did you was it like you worked for a firm doing that or something, and you kind of saw the opportunity and just went off on your own? That's kind of sounds like that's how that sort of thing would turn out, right? Because that to have that much to begin with is a lot. Well, for most of us. Yes, but there's like a whole group of people out there doing this sort of stuff that's nothing to them. But got placed on Lloyd's gilt desk. Made a bunch. Oh, wait. So did you trade for Goldman then? Is that the Lloyd you're talking about? I'm impressed. There's always this thing, like I have to say that the thing that I find so funny, like really, is that the value of this stream is not me. It's all of the people in chat. And all I am is a proxy of like sharing the stuff that you guys know, and eventually making videos about it, because there's so many of you guys here in chat that have shown me crazy impressive things. Oh, Lloyd's Front, that's a I gotcha. Is that's a bank that I don't really know what that's the name of a firm. Lloyd's Bank is just not popular here in the United States. I gotcha. Well, that's super interesting then. See, I really, I'm jealous because I really wish that I had gone and traded for a bank. I don't know if I would have been good at doing that. The thing is that at a bank, most of your trading guys are really salespeople, and I don't know if I'm a good salesperson. You know what I mean? I'm kind of more of a quant, but I should have gone into doing the quant stuff. I guess I could still do it. I'm working on it. There is Fidelity here in Salt Lake, maybe, to do that. He's trying to figure out like, yeah. See, D is thinking, oh, maybe I can go and do this and copy what he's doing and making money, right? But the first thing you got to remember, D, is that he's saying that you have to have at least $500,000 to do it, right? Because really, what he's doing, I'm just gonna spitball here, okay? But what he's doing is he's got like a $20 million account or something like that. Let's not go that crazy. Maybe it's a $2 million account, right? And he's making $100,000 a year on it, maybe, right? So he's not even making 10% per year. He's making like 5% per year, essentially. I wasn't sales. You never had to talk to a client. Well, that's cool. How do I get into that job? That's what I needed to do. I have to move to New York. That's what I gotta do. Should have moved to New York, guys. When I go back and I think about all that, I wasn't gonna move to New York because I was already married, right? Now it's like, well, I'm not gonna move to New York because I'm married. But now I'm like, I should move to New York, and I should just drag Melissa with me. She won't want to come, but I'm gonna drag her. It'll be a big number. Somehow I'll convince her, right? But really, what I should have done is I shouldn't have married the first person that I married. I didn't regret doing it. It was fun, but maybe you shouldn't have done that. And then hopefully I still would have done the things that I did and got interested in the things that I did and gotten into trading. And I would have tried to make the move over to New York as quickly as possible. Moved to Chicago. Okay, yeah. So I moved to Chicago as quickly as possible. That's what I should have done. So the biggest barrier to me doing this professionally is living in Utah. Because I think, listen, I'm down on my treasuries. I have to say the distribution of my returns is not as consistent as I would like. I have still make some mistakes in there. I think that it's probably a little bit more than just some risk management. Okay. It's definitely better than it was, because it used to be that would just be the end of me. But I've done this like 3 or 4 times on this account and I've been just fine. And I'm able to come back quite well with it too. So I feel like I'm doing okay with my trading. Like, I feel like I'm to the point where I really wanted to be, where it's like, I got something that works. I just got to get really, really good at it. And if I'm getting at break even right now, then I'm probably on the precipice of, being able to make a ton from it, right? So, because, the first thought that goes across my mind is like, oh, are you, if you're going to go and trade for a bank and then they come and they see, oh, you're trading micros and you haven't really made all that much from it, are they really going to want you? But trading for the bank provides like big advantages. I actually think that with what I know and how well I've performed over the past year, that maybe I could convince a firm to hire me. Not like a prop firm, but like a bank or something. Maybe. Full clip, 25,000. Wow. That's crazy. I think that what he's saying is that when he makes a trade and the sorry, what do we call it? That sulfur, SOF. The SOFR futures tick up one tick, he makes $25,000. Is I think what he's saying. Like that's the thing that I find really interesting about it is, and that I kind of want to move towards is here in the micro treasuries, I'm usually just trading one instrument, right? But what I would really prefer to be doing is trading a spread. What I think I would prefer to be doing is to have like a, maybe I think the spread is gonna steepen. So I have my steepener on, and then I'm taking fills. I'm offering liquidity and taking fills in line with my spread, and trying to scalp individual ticks off of those. So I scalp ticks here. I'll be in this one and I'll be in this one. So if they both move down, I don't lose money. And so I'm only making money when somebody hits into my order far beyond what they should. Right. And then I come over here and I offset it by taking a market order on this one or something like that. Right. I think that that's what I would like to do in the long run. But I think that to start to get moving towards that direction, for that to even be a feasible thing, this spread in the 5-year is just retarded and needs to be fixed. So I need to get better quality data that shows me what the 5-year on the run yield is. Like I need to be looking at the what broker tech limit order book to see all of the transactions in the 5-year, right? And calculating the yields from that and so forth is what I need. So I don't know how a retail trader, I know I can get that from Bloomberg. I hope that the CME will know and that they'll contact me. And that they will help me because they'll have an interest in bringing this spread down, right? Because 15 tick spread is retarded. If I'm full clip, it's more like I have a tick away from stop loss, so it's more like half that most of the time. Oh yeah, what platform do you use? Oh, he's using TT. He told us that yesterday. He's using TT. Just kind of taking inventory of things. Corn having a good move up today. Kappa is kind of the star today. Yep, Wedbush plus TT. It kind of makes me want to use TT. Oh, you know what happened yesterday? So like I looked at all of that and I'm like, oh, okay, let's talk to Patrick. Patrick doesn't work for TT anymore. He works for those FTX guys. Yeah. Probing complete. So he wasn't too useful. It does seem to me like I might be able to better do what I want. Yeah. I might be able to better do what I want to do here with TT. And I can use TT together with the Jigsaw DOM. Because I don't think that the TT DOM it doesn't have all of the customization that I want. And you get the TT data, which is solid. Right. But I don't know. Somebody's got to have this data, man. It's crazy to me that it's that hard to find this data. It really, with that perspective, the micros, the macros here, having on the run macros is actually like a really valuable thing. Who is more boss, CQG or Rhythmic? Oh man. You know what though? I've always, this is the thing that's always driven me nuts, NASDAQ Killer, is that I don't think it's really the case that there's one product is better than the other. In fact, that's almost never the case in futures. I had this issue because I was talking to somebody from a brokerage and they didn't want they ultimately did not go forward with like a sponsored video because I wasn't just going to say everything about this platform is perfect for all use cases, because it's not the case. This is not the case. Like, there were certain things that it did well and that it did really well and that are really quite exciting and very, very tempting to go and use. But if I'm going to go and scout the order book, that platform's not it. That platform's not it. I'm sorry. It's just it doesn't have all the tools that you need to really understand what the orders are doing. You know? Jigsaw is like almost the only one, right? So it's not the case. It's never the case that one thing is just objectively better than the other, right? So actually, it says for me, CQG has been better. That probably makes sense because he's trading more exotic instruments and he's going to need like a wider array of data pieces, and that is the advantage that CQG provides. Is you can get the indexes. It seems like you can get at one point, at least, it seems you could get broker tech data and so on and so forth, right? And to my knowledge, Rhythmic doesn't have that stuff. But on the other hand, Rhythmic gives you more levels. And in my experience, the Rhythmic data has been a little bit more reliable. I don't get the occasional data resets with Rhythmic. But I don't know, after today's experience, maybe those had something to do with me after all. Yeah. Just kidding though. I know. Yeah, it's everything has an advantage. And with the platforms, you know, I don't think there's a perfect platform. I think I should make a platform. Listen, if you're an investor, you want to get into the developing a futures platform business, and you've got, you know, like $1 million, $2 million or whatever, right? Because I think I would probably need to hire at least 2 other people to do it. I think. I don't know who they would be. I'd have to go and hire them. So that would be a big risk, right? But yeah, I have some ideas for a platform. I think that I could make the objectively best futures trading platform out there. I really think I could do it. I know like enough about these things, and I've made platforms myself to know like where some of these platforms are strong and weak and so forth to make one that I think would be better. Think I can do it. Think I can do it. Who was it that recommended the ubiquity switches? So I'm like, they have switching, but I don't know if the switching deals with the routing parts. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at it. Does it have layer 3 functionality? Layer, I need to figure out what are the extra features that I need. Excel plus R has been the dude. I mean, that's exactly kind of where I'm going though, actually. Like one of the things that I think would be a good thing for a platform would be automatic Excel, Excel, Python, and R integrations is one of the key things. I don't think I've There are platforms that do Excel, like CQG can do Excel, right? I suppose I could write it for NinjaTrader. Like for all of those things, I could write it for NinjaTrader, but it wouldn't be as good as if it was like built into the platform. Yeah. Because my thinking is the charting and execution bits are done through some low level language, probably Rust. Okay. The DOM part would be really hard to do. Okay, because I have to say, Jigsaw has a DOM that is written in C#, and there's some things about C# that make it a lot more effective, and they kind of can modify the way that it works to be performant for their use cases. So it's pretty crazy, but give Seth access to reverse engineer your trades for the past 90 days. Well, like the whole thing here, D, is that like I would love to be able to learn how he does it, but I am not in any position to be able to try and duplicate his trading, right? Those are only for my accountant and my wife to see. Maybe when I stop making money and need to sell books. Exactly. Well, I think that for us, here's the thing, is that for us trading treasuries, and when we're talking anything that has been relevant to what we're doing, he's given us information, right? So I don't know if, going through that would really be all that useful to us trying to trade the micros, right? Which is really what I'm most interested in. Just probing to see if he's a real or a piker. No, I think he's for real. Like the thing that has always impressed me about Akshay is that he knows the stuff that I would only expect an institutional trader to know. So that's why I believe him. Because the reality here is that the retail traders are only learning from themselves, from each other. Like that's the really the crazy thing, and that's the thing that I think that this stream provides that no other stream does. Now I don't have the knowledge and experience that Akshay does to talk about some of these more complicated financial instruments and stuff. I understand more of the quant side of it. So what I've been doing is I've been introducing you guys to the basics of the quant finance world and execution that's relevant to what we're doing, right? It's crazy to me that the retail trading world is not aware of these things, but I hope that by me introducing it to you and you're going to introduce it to other people, and eventually we'll get to a point where retail traders do understand this stuff. And then we won't have to have these stupid arguments anymore. Like that's the thing, that this is why I'm willing to get into the argument about technical analysis and so forth with people, because the retail traders are just sharing information that they were given by somebody else and that they don't actually know for themselves because they don't have the skills to prove it quantitatively, right? And most of it is, in the end, is actually dead wrong, right? So if we teach people the quantitative side of it and the things that we know we can prove, then retail traders can have a discussion about, that actually goes somewhere, that actually makes our trading better, right? And somebody might discover something or, have ideas that really help us have breakthroughs. But when everybody's just sharing nonsense, you don't get anywhere, right? So the whole idea here is to get the rest of the retail trading world kind of more up to snuff, right? Now, does teaching them how to trade SOFR futures do that? Probably not, because again, you're gonna have to have a big wad of cash to do what he's doing. And probably for the other things that we would learn from it are things that we're already talking about, right? how the mechanics of the market work and how to do the technical analysis, the quantitative analysis side of it. Nah. The thing is the only time that I really tell people like, oh, you have to show me your broker statements and everything is if they use their past success as like a reason for why you should listen to them, right? You notice that the successful traders tend not to do that. So that's kind of the funny thing is that the successful trader, I usually don't end up having to ask them if they've been successful with it or to prove it with broker statements, right? Because they're able to prove through their knowledge that they're actually doing that, right? Actually, it doesn't come in and say it's you should do X or it's X way, and I know that because I'm a profitable trader. No, like he just puts the fact out there, and then I spend the whole stream trying to figure the thing out and doubting it, and then in the end find out, oh, actually no, he was right. The ratio that I should be using is 3-to-1 for the treasury and for the 2 and 10-year spread, and then the chart looks correct. Right? Took me 10 minutes to figure it out and verify that that was the case, but it was. And I try to do that with my content, right? When I make a video, you should be able to go out on the internet and like research these things and see, oh yes, everything that Seth is saying is objectively true. And then the rest is just like kind of my experience, which is, is what it is. They say trust but verify. No, I don't look at it that way. I look at it as never trust anything but verify everything. No, not trust but verify. Don't trust, verify. I don't know. You get what I'm saying though. That dog is out there barking. Oh my gosh. So we got the dog with this collar. It's a shock collar, but it also has a vibrator on it. So I haven't been using the shock because I don't actually think it works. Like I think that the fur gets in the way or something. But or maybe I just don't want to turn it up very high enough for him to even notice it. But the buzzer is more than enough to like he does not like that. And if he's doing something he knows he shouldn't do, because I mean he knows what he shouldn't be doing now at this point. I think it's really turned into he knows he shouldn't be doing that, but nobody's gonna stop him. But now you just buzz him, he stops doing it. It's perfect. Perfect. Like he's out there barking. I can hear him outside barking, and I want to go and buzz him so that he'll stop barking. But he probably doesn't have the vibration color on right now. Well, the treasury's going to come back the other way again. How many times has it done this before? Yeah, he traded for Lloyd's on a bank's trading desk. I want to do it. You know what I really want to do? Even if I didn't trade for a firm, I want to go back and talk to those guys. Now that I understand all this quant stuff and everything, I want to talk to them again and see if I can get like hints for like what the next level is. You know what I mean? Because to me, it was always like I come in, I'm learning stuff, but about indicators and order flow. But there's always like this feeling like I'm searching for something more. You always feel like you're searching for something more. There's the thing that is gonna like make everything make sense and then get you on the path to being a profitable trader, and that you're on the right path now at that point. You might not be perfect at it yet, but at least you're on a good path, right? And what is that? And I think that this is why so many traders, we try different technical analysis indicator after indicator, and you never really have success with it, and yada yada yada, right? Well, I but I eventually came to the conclusion that it doesn't exist, that you just kind of have to do hard work, and that maybe a lot of these people are just getting lucky, right? And then I learned the quantitative finance stuff. And all of a sudden it was, oh, this is what I was looking for. This was the thing that I wouldn't necessarily say that that's like it's going to make you profitable and everything's good now. No. But are you on the right path? Yes. Does it take you to the next level? Yes. And is that next level like way leagues above where most retail traders are? Yeah. It's kind of crazy that with all of that and all of that knowledge and all of the work that it took me to get there, that it's how hard trading is, really. That just shows you how random markets are, really. But you know, so what's the next thing? What's the thing that takes me to the next level? And I kind of think, like, when I look at my space, I do kind of feel that one of the things that I don't know that clearly could improve me. I don't know if it's the next level, but clearly could improve me, is knowing more about the sort of stuff that Akshay is talking about, and not necessarily trading SOFR futures per se, but doing a butterfly and managing the risk with multiple instruments and pulling out a consistent profit that way, right? Tell them that you're ready to do CDOR desk in Canada. What's that? Yeah, I'll look it up. For now, Colorado Department Canadian interest rate benchmark. Oh, okay. I would like to be on a bat desk where we just traded 10-year treasuries, but I don't know. I think that's what I would prefer if I was going to trade a certain way right now. Now, of course, I don't know all of the different ways to do it, but I would think that if I was to choose based off of what I knew now, I would want to execute block trades in the 10-year treasury. But whatever. For now, though, that's not the focus, unfortunately. For now, the focus is I'm going to pass the Series 65 exam. We got these 2 videos we're going to do. And we're going to do some of this machine learning stuff, right? Once I've gotten through all of that, then I take inventory of where I'm at, right? And I got to warn you, one of the choices may be go get a job doing a machine learning job, which might mean no more channel, but I don't know. We'll see. Probably not going to happen. Almost everyone leaves. It's in like 6 months because the volumes are dead. Huh, that's interesting. Okay, I am over my time now. Thank you, guys. I will see you Tuesday. We will not be here on Monday. I'm going to study, but I'm still going to be there in Discord. So if you guys haven't checked out the Discord link, make sure you check that out and we can chat all the time. You can message me or we can talk in the main chat channel. So I will see you guys Tuesday. Stay profitable, friends, or at least